All right, so like I just said, those that are in geometry and advanced math at the same time, decimals not accepted in here. So the first thing you want to do is look, obviously, if we're taking a look at this example, which is on 5-5 day 1, you want to make sure if you're looking at your cheat sheet that you're on the 45, 45, 90 side. And I think it's very simple that if this segment here is 3, it has a marking over here that's the same marking. So y has to be, because what type of triangle are we looking at? It is most definitely isosceles, correct? Meaning that that side over there has to be the same as that one over there, correct? Now you could do Pythagorean theorem to get x, but what somebody has done, they kept doing a lot of these patterns over and over, and they have found a shortcut that you can get there. And if you look at your cheat sheet, it basically says if you're going from one of the legs, which is where 3 is, and you need to go to the hypotenuse, it tells you exactly what to do. And what does it tell you to do on your cheat sheet? Multiply by the square root of 2. Does everybody see where that is on your cheat sheet? Which in other words mean this side must be 3 square root of 2. Questions on that? This one here, should I be staying with the same cheat sheet? Yeah, it's still 45, 45, 90. And in fact, that makes x really pretty simple. It's 45 degrees. Now this time, I've given you a leg. Does it matter that the triangle is kind of faced differently? No, you still follow that, right? If I were to ask you for this bottom piece, it would most definitely be 7. I didn't ask you for it, but if you want to see it, that's fine. And I'm going to the hypotenuse, right? I'm going to the biggest side. And so we are probably going to multiply by something. And it tells you to multiply by square root of 2. You might say, isn't that the exact same thing as the last example? It is, but I wanted to make sure that if I turned the triangle, you wouldn't get confused, right? Because that can sometimes be a problem for people. Any questions so far with your cheat sheet and following it around? Please realize it only works for these particular triangles. So the difference here, I gave you the hypotenuse. Here is where being in advanced math is going to be slightly more difficult. Because if you follow your cheat sheet, what does it tell you to do to get to a leg? Divide by the square root of 2. So in other words, it's 1 divided by the square root of 2. Okay. In geometry, I said, just leave it like that. Or go get the decimal. Well, neither one of those is acceptable here. We have to take care of that radical problem in the denominator. But you know how to do that. Multiply by conjugate, or funny form of 1, which in this case is square root of 2 over square root of 2. Okay. So then if you do the top, it's square root of 2 over, well, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which is just 2. So this side over here is square root of 2 over 2. So what can you tell me about y? Oh, same thing. Square root of 2 over 2. Because you would once again divide by square root of 2 to get there. So how you doing with the 45, 45, 90? Doing all right? Well, let's take a look at the 30, 60, 90. You may want to make a note that the most helpful side is the side across from 30 degrees. Because if you're across from 30 degrees, you can get either of the other two sides quite easily. And you may notice on this first one, I actually do have across from 30. And so all I have to do is follow the rules on the cheat sheet. I'm going to the hypotenuse. So do you think that's going to be more than 5 or less? More. Quite a bit more? Well, yeah, it's across from 30, and that one's across from 90. The pattern this person found is all you have to do that is multiply by 2. Not square root of 2. Nope, just 2. This is the 30, 60, 90, and so this one is 10. And then it also says if you're at across from 30, you can get to across from 60 quite easily. Should it get bigger or smaller? Across from 30 is 5. Across from 60 better be bigger. And so you're going to multiply by the square root of 3. That's what it says right on your cheat sheet. Does everybody see where it says that? Now, what some people in geometry will say, well, wait a minute, isn't 10 supposed to be the biggest number here? It's the hypotenuse. And people say, well, there I multiplied by 2. Here I multiplied by square root of 3. Isn't that going to make this one bigger? Well, the square root of 3 is about 1.7, so it doesn't quite make it as big. And am I going to allow you to put a decimal there? Do I have to do the conjugate to get y? No, it's times. So it's just 5 square root of 3. Questions so far? This should be review from geometry. Oh, look at that. I gave you across from 30 again. Why don't you take a second and see if you can get x and y for this one. All right, hopefully you did well. Let's see. I gave you across from 30 again, so let's do it a little different this time. Should that one get bigger? Yes. By how much? Well, I'm going to multiply by square root of 3, so 9 square root of 3. How about this one? Should it get bigger? Yeah, multiply by 2. So this is 18. So should Pythagorean theorem work if you did this? Should 9 squared plus 9 squared of 3 squared equal 18 squared? Yeah, it's a right triangle. It should. Okay. And basically, this is a shortcut that somebody said, you know what, I am tired of doing Pythagorean theorem on this all the time. And now all you need is one side. Okay. This is probably going to be the biggest one. Just like on the 45, 45, 90, I gave you 1 as the hypotenuse. That's probably going to be the most important one from that side. This is going to be by far the most important one from this side. We'll see if you can figure out why. I've given you, well, there you go, hypotenuse. Now, I didn't give you across from 30. Anywhere on your cheat sheet does it do this? Go from hypotenuse directly to across from 60? Does it draw that arrow anywhere on your cheat sheet? It does not. Where does it get you to, though? It gets you to across from 30. Okay? Because remember, I told you that's the most important one anyways, because you can go either direction from there. All right? Well, obviously, if 1 is the hypotenuse, x is going to be a little bit smaller than 1, right? Because we're not going to multiply. We're going to divide by, just by 2. Okay? And it is then 1/2. Any need for conjugate there? No. But now you can get here. Should it get bigger than 1/2? Should it get bigger than 1? No, 1's a hypotenuse. It better not get bigger than 1. We're going to multiply by square root of 3. Well, how do you do that? You got square root of 3 times 1/2. This could be written as square root of 3 over 1, right? So then you go ahead, square root of, if you go like this, square root of 3 over 2. Any conjugate needed there? No. Any questions on the cheat sheet or how to use it? So is that going to work for a 40, 60, 90? Well, that's not even a triangle if you actually listen to the numbers I just said. But 40, 50, 90, is that going to work for that? No. It only works for these two very particular triangles. Now, wait a minute. Where have we seen a 30, a 60, and a 45? And a 90? Oh, on the unit circle. So you should probably take out your unit circle that you have, filled in with degrees and radians, because we're going to fill in the rest today. Yes, and as it was just noticed, that means there'll be more